Good morning. Good morning. Season 6, episode 24, number 242. On a Sunday today, with this whole messed up um, time switch, I dislike. I dislike the time change. Hate getting ripped off, and I hate getting ripped off when it comes to time. So this morning, I opened my eyes. Well, at 4:30, with 4:30 old school time, which today makes it 5:30, and I didn't even think of the time switch. So I'm like, no, I don't need to get up early today. I want to sleep. Close my eyes. They open again at around 6:37 is what the clock said. Go downstairs, hang out with the bunny. I listen to your message to me, and you're like, bro, are we doing this today? You say the word time change, and I'm like, holy cow, it's like 7:45 now, not 6:45. And I'm just completely like, I'm out to lunch. Like, then I look at my phone. Like, I didn't even look at the time on the phone, but I'm like, oh my God, it's 7:45. Look at my watch, it's 7:45. And you're like, hey, we can do this, we cannot do this. So I was like, yeah, man, I want to do it. So let's do it. All that to say, I dislike getting ripped off with my time. I know there's nothing I can do about it. I'm really happy that it's it's March break. I don't really have any real plans today or need to be anywhere today. We decided not to get groceries today, so it's just like I'm chill, but I dislike getting ripped off on my time. That's how I'm starting this cast today.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
I
I just
figured that that's where you'd go with that.
yeah, I don't feel ripped off. I don't have a sort of a sense that there's an other way that this should be. I kind of just I go through the process of changing the clocks. I got up this morning and I wrote a piece about this before, just talking about the kind of the irony of how much the dislike, not the dislike, just the noticing that resetting the clocks now is a different experience than even, I think the version of turning the clocks back, the language automatically suggests like a human hand in it, that we're sort of like it obscures this idea that most of that clock turning back is automated now, right? The smart machines, the internet of things doesn't even give us the opportunity to complain about touching the clock, because really, if you did nothing, for some people, if you did nothing the night before and you just went about your business, you would just wake up tired. Like, if you're really integrated into this experience and you have a bunch of smart machines in your house, you would never ever be really, really notice the time change. Not really. There's that potential. Um, Unless you really stop for a moment. This morning with the hiccup, it's the dissonance between you and me that created that a little bit of that agitation, because there was a thing that we have scheduled for a time, and then somehow you you weren't waking up with your regular schedule relative to that. But really, if we didn't have a potentially previously scheduled engagement like this long form that actually has nothing to do with time change, it's a full year project, 7:30 on one morning. If there wasn't that, dude, you just gotten up, you might not even be having these feels right now. Maybe. But the automation of things, I'll just go back to the other thing. Like, I've thought about this probably too much, that the thing that we complain about is actually a part of our humanity. Like, that having to change the clocks, having to actually go in, is like a kind of a cool thing to do, because when you're no longer doing that and the internet of things just does it for you, you've officially removed one very human thing from your noticing list that you don't have to pay attention to anymore. So I like the fact that it's never really bugged me. I don't get it. Part of it is I don't get why we keep doing it. I don't think we need to keep doing it anymore. Like, to have this. I don't think we need it anymore. But yeah, I did not have the same reaction that you did, bro.
Well, bro, obviously I have to change my alarm clock still, and I have to change the oven and the microwave, which is whack because you'd think that your microwave and your oven would be smart enough to do that. Um, and then I think
If
if
you pay, if you pay, it will. Like if you
who
paid, there's the free any right now. If you paid, you could actually pay to never have to change your clock again. Everything would as long as the only switch is as long as the internet's working, everything would do that on its own,
well, then
right?
I guess I'm not sure what you're referring to. I just
Well, you're
think,
buying a more expensive model. That's all.
but you okay, yeah, that's which is dumb because you think that they would just build it in, but they
They
don't want
do
to,
if you pay.
right? And yeah, that's not going to happen. I'm not
It ain't
paying for
happening.
that.
I don't need
Um,
my stove talking to my fridge. I don't need to
I'm not
walk in
doing
and
that.
you walk into the kitchen, there's nobody there, and you just hear shh, 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 he's here. Stop.
You know,
Quiet.
what would be fun is if I was just a big asshole and lived the rest the whole imagine not adhering to the time change and just just you arrive somewhere, they're like, "What, you're an hour late." "No, I'm not. I don't ad," and you've got a T-shirt or something that says, "I don't adhere to time changes."
I protest.
Yeah, I protest the time change.
You know what I
Um,
love about that? I love about that. I was reading this. There was one of my feeds this week. There's I don't know. It's BuzzFeed, so I only give BuzzFeed so much credit. But I guess there's a dude that's in a bit of a having a bit of an issue with his work right now because he was previously a remote worker and I guess he codes. He does something that's fairly like tech integrated, so something that you can kind of do anywhere. But I guess his company is saying everyone has to come into the office. Okay, so um, his work phone, like you, he has a work phone and a personal one. Okay, so what he does is when he leaves on Friday, he leaves his work phone at the office. Like he doesn't take it home with him on the weekend, and he won't answer calls or do any work that is texted to him or any questions about it if it happens to go to his personal phone. And the words that he has said, I thought that it's brilliant in its simplicity. Is like, you told me I couldn't work from home. Like you can't, I can't work from home, so he's not. I love that. I love it.
I don't even know what happened there. Something to do with like my internet signal, which is hilarious because my computer's hardwired.
Hmm.
All of a sudden, the internet signal says it's gone.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, Rogers, why do you have to do what you're doing right now?
I'm
Like,
not
we're
happy
trying,
with Rogers right now. Just yeah, I'm having issues as well. So, did you
but
get
I'm
any of
just
that
saying,
though?
like,
Did you hear what I was saying?
no, I didn't.
I was just saying there's a dude that basically is
Oh,
he leaves his phone at work
right.
on the weekend now, and he won't answer any texts from his boss because he says you told me I can't work from home anymore.
Are you serious?
Don't you love it?
I do love it. I'm just so they're like, you can't work. You shouldn't. You can't work from home anymore.
Well,
And then
because
they're
he was previously a remote worker. So, and
okay.
they're saying that you need to come into the office now. You need to do your work at work. So, when he leaves on Friday, he leaves his work phone on his desk. Whenever he leaves the office, he leaves his work phone on the desk.
That's kind of funny. Actually,
That's yeah, I like.
we recently got this row of this row of lockers installed in our staff room at the Kitchener location. So it's like it's not one locker. It's like I don't know, six mini lockers in this one standing row. Okay, and it when we first got it, I was like, "What is this?" They're like, "Oh, they're lockers for staff because we had told our principal. Somebody had told the principal we don't have anywhere to keep our valuables or whatever. There's nothing locks." So she arranged to have this thing come in, and I waited about a week and a half for people to choose their lockers before I chose mine because I wanted to choose the one that's right in line with like my arm reaching out, right? But that's a prime spot, and I'm not a prime member there. So I figured I'd end up getting top or bottom. But nobody went after one. So I picked one right in front of me. And I went on the internet, I got a picture of my face. I printed it, put it right on my locker, brought in my lock. And the other day somebody's like, "Hey, Roland, we noticed like you've got a locker." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." They're like, "What's in it?" I'm like, "There's a couple of Cliff Bars and the box of my business card." And it's just silent. And they're waiting to see if I'm joking or not. Because they're like, "What? Your business cards and a couple of Cliff Bars?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's like a treasure box for me. Like if I need more business cards, I go into the locker. If I'm starving and I'm here, I just go in and get a Cliff Bar." And they're just all looking at me like they don't know what to say or do. And I'm like, "What's the problem?" Like, "We don't know if you're joking." I'm like, "I'm not joking." And then they laugh because they're like, "Cliff Bars and like who's gonna take that?" I'm like, "It's not who's gonna take it. It's I I'm gonna need something to bring me up." And going into that locked box that nobody else theoretically can get into is like adventure for me. And they're like, "And we noticed you put your picture on." I'm like, "So everybody would know who belonged to." So if one day something happens and I don't know, somebody walks in, they're like, "We need to cut the lock off this box. Who does it belong to?" Well, my face is right there. Just text me and tell me what you need. They're all just looking at me and I'm like, "Good morning to all of you too."
I love it. It's like you're 12 years old.
Well,
With
yeah.
there's an element of, like, your secret stash. "What's in there?" "My secret stash." And the funny thing is you're actually telling people it's a secret stash because that's exactly what a kid would do. Because if I had a secret stash, I wouldn't be telling anyone that I had a secret stash, and I wouldn't be pointing to it, and if you did, you were looking around my house, and let's say there's a spot in my house where that secret stash is, I would not have a picture of my face on it to draw attention to it. So that's what I mean. It's like a 12-year-old tactic that you're doing, and all you have is basically food and business cards. Like, it's awesome. It's kind of awesome. Uh,
Um,
Little Roland.
I love it. What I should do for fun is put a couple of like dinky toy cars in there and
Oh,
stuff
you
that I
want to
can.
have fun? You want to have some real fun?
I'm writing this down.
Buy yourself a really good fart machine that you can set off with your phone, and you leave that in the actual locker.
Fart
So what?
machine.
Yeah. So then when you're like in your office and you know people are using the lockers, you set it off. That's my type of humor. I would say hands down. I already scoping them out on like a sound box, right? Like a good one that can be set off remotely. Are they
Um,
metal? Like, are they like, is it a metal locker?
yeah, it's
Like
a
just
metal
old school?
locker.
Oh, dude, that's gonna rattle in there. It'll be awesome. It'll be awesome. So you got 2 or 3 people going to put their stuff in there, and you like set it off and you wait. You just wait for either people to start giggling or
It
for complete silence. Like,
so your idea is a good one, but it would have to. There's a lot of layers. There's a lot of things that would have to happen for that to work. One of which is me spending money to buy a machine that can be connected to my phone.
mhm.
Um, but it's a good idea. I don't know if I'll go there, but I certainly do want to get some like I think I should probably get some like novelty candy and drinks and stuff and just shove them in there so that if someone says, "What's in your locker?" and I open it, and then they can celebrate with me by having like a retro candy bar or gum or something. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Or put something really cringy in there, like on the door of the locker, like a mini poster of Sean Cassidy, like from the Partridge Family, some old school, like
I was thinking like one of those toxic stickers or something on the outside
you
to make
can.
people think that there's danger on the inside.
A mirror on the door, so, like, you come up in the morning, you're like
The problem with the location is it's nobody see when things are going. I guess people are in the office space right before school starts and right after school ends. Like
Mhm,
during the day, it's like when I pull in there sometimes it's in the middle of their school day. So I walk into the office, I'm kind of by myself.
mhm.
Um Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna think about it a little bit more because it would be fun, but nobody's adopted them. Um, next time I'm in there, I'll take a picture for you of mine. It's friggin' hilarious.
You leave like a fish sandwich in there for a
Oh,
week.
so I have to tell you, along those lines,
I
Irma,
love
I
it.
don't think Irma's happy with me because I was supposed to do that bologna cheese sandwich thing in her principal's
Oh,
office, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
never did. I just never made the sandwich and then went in there. And then lately, when I've been in that school, it's never been for good things. Like I don't know. And I'm rarely alone in the principal's office, so it's like Irma asked about it a few times. I have respect for that. She's like, "Come on, man. Like you said you're going to do this. Yeah, I didn't do it." Not one of the proudest moments of my life, but um I'm still thinking about going back to work after the March break and not following the new time.
I like that. I
Why
like
is
that.
Roland never on time? No, I'm on time. The rest of North
The world
America
is
off.
off time.
Yeah. Apparently Quebec and New York have to agree to make the change to get rid of it. And I guess that's where it dies because
Mm.
nobody's communicating with Quebec and New York. I don't know.
Can I just go back to the jokey stuff?
Of course, yes.
Because we're in a really good phase now in my the program that I'm a part of. And I call it a good phase, but it's probably a little bit annoying for well, I'll say for the students. Only because right now myself and the CYW are kind of like in this weird, like every day we're kind of doing practical jokes and doing silly things. And a couple weeks ago we were, the whole Rick roll thing.
Hmm.
So we were teeny weeny beanieing the students all the time. So I don't know if you've seen this video. It's Paul Rudd and who's the dude from The Late Show? Not Jimmy Kimmel. The comedian that came off of SNL. I'm forgetting his name right now. But he's anyways, he always has musical acts there.
Hmm.
So it's them singing together this song Teeny Weeny Beanie. And it's basically identifying the hipster toque. It's kind of folded up, never really covers the ears, but I'll send you the link. It's a very catchy tune.
Hmm.
So we kept on playing that, and the CYW and I are just like tearing up laughing. We're loving it so much, and the kids are like, "Okay, when are you going to be done with this?" This past week, um, I was going to do a like a hot seat route. So in the careers course moves fast. So I'm always trying to find like these high impact kind of learning activities games for the kids to play, right? So I thought I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna make a Kahoot, and I like making Kahoots every once in a while because I like to put a lot of comedy and weird stuff in them, like just between the picture that sort of the gift that I have on there and the questions, and there's always I just enjoy it. I feel creative in that space, messing with the the Kahoot tools, the free tools. I thought like maybe what if I just did like a quick rapid fire question session. I'm like, okay, but I don't have anything for them to buzz in on. Like I have nothing other than I mean you could do different things, put your hands up, say your name. So instead I cruise past Walmart and I get two dog toys and one's like this big rubber pig and you squeeze it and it's like and it's really loud, really like it's amazingly loud because it's only about this big. I don't know how it gets that much what is it vibration out of it, but you can actually you hold it in front of you, you can feel it in your chest. And then so that's got a good punch to it. And then I get a rubber chicken. And the rubber chicken, any movement on the rubber chicken, any like if you're holding it and you even squeeze it, it's like and it's a full squeeze on it, it reinflates. So it makes a sound when you squeeze the air out and makes a sound when it's reinflating. And no joke, kids, it takes about 30 seconds for it to reinflate. So you go, and it just keeps going. So this past week, my students, bless their hearts, they all they consistently will throw down sort of like just stuff. I'm like, man, why did you say that? Like, what? Come on. Like, we're in this mode of like helping them build character, just have better conversations. Sometimes they snipe each other, or they kind of like they just say something that's a little bit off. Okay, we got to work on that. We're going to build community, build community, build community. So this past week, instead of addressing it directly, I put the rubber chicken. So I have a stand-up desk. I think I sent you a picture of it way back in the day. And it's really this old, you remember those carts, the big carts that because we used to have big TVs on these big carts. They have the straps over the top. So this is a converted cart that I found. It looks like some caretaker totally hacked it because it's got a wood top and two wood sides, and you can see where they painted it gray and maroon, which are the colors for our school. And I could see someone said, "Oh man, that's where Mike's card is." Mike retired 20 years ago. There was a spot on the side for like looping your power cords over. Like this was his cart. Nobody wanted it. I took it. So on the bottom tier of the cart, I have stuff stored there. So what all I did was I left the chicken in a Walmart bag, kind of rolled it up and just left it there. So it just looks like a rolled up Walmart bag. And every time this week when the students said something I didn't like, I'd step on the chicken. And they're like, what is that? So it got to the point where they would say something. So they're like, yeah, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. And you're an idiot or something that effect saying to a student. And then they're like, and then they'd look over to see if the rubber chicken would respond. And I'm like, if the rubber chicken speaks, you said the wrong thing. You said the wrong thing. So I like it. This is where I'm also riffing off the whole like play with the locker. Do something to make it. I love that you put your face on it. Feels kind of professional though. Do something that's like when you open it, someone's standing there.
I have to tell you though, the photo is not professional.
If even a photo, it also reminded me we have all these photos in our staff room. I might have told you this, all these photos in the staff room, and it was like a project, a wellness project from 2, 3, 4 years ago, pre-COVID, right? And what they did at one staff meeting, they gave everyone like a cardboard frame, and everyone had a good black and white photo taken of themselves. So everyone got to customize the frame, and then these frames just kind of like super thin, they slide into these racks that are mounted on the wall. So I kept on asking, like, when is this going to be redone for the new staff? When's this going to be done for the new staff? So all I did one day is I drew a scribbly picture of myself on a scrap piece of recycled paper, and I crammed it in there between two people's photos. And it was up there for a month. And then one of the administrators comes into my classroom and they're laughing. They're laughing. They're laughing. And they pull out their phone. They go, tell me about this. And they took a photo of my picture in there. I'm like, well, no one was taking any pictures. I wrote my name on it. I'm like, Clough. It looks like you remember Mad Magazine? So it looks like this sort of really frenetic Don Martin kind of like drawing of myself, right? Yeah. So I love this. I love the opportunity to sort of play that way. And the rubber chicken and your locker adornment. I love it.
I Okay, so we don't have a lot of time left.
Sorry.
No, no, it's not a problem. I'm just trying to. I'm thinking,
Oh,
do I want to go where I want to go? I think I do.
do it.
So I had a dream last night, and the first thing I thought when my eyes opened was, is this real? No. Should I share it with Clough? Probably. So I had a dream last night that I had to transfer schools, and I ended up at a school that I'd already worked at. The layout of the school was different, but it was all the same kids and the same staff and the same administrator, which this administrator I did not get along with. They did not get along with me. And as I was sitting in my classroom, it was empty. So they had to create a class. So they had too many kids. They had to create a class. They gave it to me. And as I'm walking around the room looking in the cupboards and stuff, there's nothing in the room. Like there's no office supplies, there's no books for kids, there's no textbooks, there's nothing. And there are only three walls in the classroom. So the main hallway, there's no wall running like between my classroom and the main hallway in the whole school. So as I'm sitting in my room, I look to my left and I see the other class and I see the main hallway run right between us. And then then I think, oh my God, it's March break this week. And I have to come in and set up my new class over March break. So I'm not getting a break. That's not cool. And then I don't know what showed up in front of me. Now that I think about it, it wasn't a real person. It was like an AI image coming from me, but sitting in front of me saying to me, "Do you really want to be here? Do you really want to work for that person again? No, you need to call the board office and tell them you're not doing this." Think about it, Roland. I was sitting in my rocking chair, rocking back and forth, thinking, I'm not going to get a March break. I'm back at this school and I have to work with that principal again. And that, yeah, like this image appeared like a hologram, like just appeared. And it's like, Roland, you don't want to be here. You need to call and tell them, no, you're not doing this. And then when I woke up for real, I'm like, it's just a dream. It's not real. But right before I woke up in the dream, I said to myself, I'm not doing this. And then I woke up. That's it, bro. I just wanted to share.
That's cool.
Is it cool? I don't know what it is.
Of
It's a
course it is.
melange of things. And it was
Of course
funny
it's cool.
when I looked across the hall to the name bar on the whatever, what I can't call it a wall. Was no wall there.
The
The teacher,
nameplate?
the nameplate on a wall. The nameplate still had the name of the teacher that was there, but she's now a principal. So it was really weird how like in my dream was happening in real time. Like my dream was like her name's still there, but I know in real life she's not there anymore. And it wasn't her in the room, but her name was still there. It was just really a really weird like reality with non-reality playing together in the same space. Like you're back here, which I'm not. The name on the wall is her, but I know she's not there. She's running a school now. So, whew. Anyway, on that note, it's 8:59 on my clock, and I know we had to stop at 9. So, do you have any art to show us today?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I don't know if anyone's going to listen to this episode. I expect that they do, but I think that I want to just land again just on that idea of humor at work. Um, and I think it always I get lit up way back. I can what was it? Minimalism exception. It was a book. It's not minimalism. It was a book that I did with maybe it was minimalism. A book that I read with Tina Zita a few years ago. I think it was pre-COVID. A few people got in. The book has like spiral kind of drawing, white background, black sort of spirals on it, maybe red writing. I'd have to look it up. But in that, we were talking about the necessities of our work. Like what are the things that we know, maybe the set pieces, we can take it as that. What are the set pieces of working in education? And one of the things we landed on was this is this idea that there's the input from the human is always going to exceed the return from the system. And you can still feel good about the returns from the system, whatever it is. And that can be your paycheck, it can be your professional growth, it can be the relationship. Like there's a lot of return on it, right? But the input is always going to exceed the return. And we talked a little bit about what can be done to counter that. Like, how do you counter that? Especially if the return that you're getting is very, very small, as in it's not enough to buffer your actual effort, resources, life force, everything else that you're putting into your job. Now, this isn't specific to education. We can make this about any kind of work, right? And we talked a little bit about what it would take for that to be one to one, as in what you put in, you can actually really clearly get something back. And we didn't land on any specific, like any specific, let's say, commodities that we would say, if I do this, I need to have this. We weren't definitely not savvy enough or collectively, what's the word, competent enough to kind of say, here's the necessary list. Like, we weren't trying to set down this edu celeb list. But one of the things that consistently was a part of our discussion was kind of like wanting to feel good. And through that, I mean, that can be physically in the body, that can be in your spirit, that can be in your mind, right? You can have it as the collective wanting to feel good in the places um, that you that you that you inhabit. But one of the things that popped up, which is kind of like a wild card, is that humor is so helpful. So helpful. And the difference between receptive and expressive humor. So kind of participating because you're there when the joke is told, and actually being a person that is telling jokes and being playful. I've said to you often that, I seek and I like to go to different schools. I just crave to be in different places. My brain automatically, something just happens and I think to myself, "Oh, time to go." And it's just, I'm hardwired to escape. I'm feral. I've kept my feral nature in education, right? Um One of the things that has started to take that away from me or tame it is my participation in kind of funny, humorous things. Um, there's a white erase board in our office that just never had anything in it. And one day I just went and grabbed, there was some dry erase markers, like a whole kit sitting there, which I don't even know what it was. Like, literally, I was observing this white erase board, long, maybe 10 inches wide, and it's literally probably like 3.5, 4 feet long. So it's kind of on a post. It's just a random white erase. So I went by and I wrote a dad joke on it and just walked through. I did a quick one and kept on walking. And about a week and a half later, someone's telling the joke. I heard someone actually using the joke on someone. And then I'm in the office, and one of the administrative assistant came up and said, "Was that you that did that on there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was just, a little bit of lightness." And between we're talking about it, we're kind of laughing about it. And she's like, "Can you keep doing it?" She said there were so many people that just kind of walked by, looked at it quick, kind of surprised, like, "Oh, there's something written here. It's kind of funny." I'm like, "Sure." So 2 or 3 times a week, I'm switching it up and putting another kind of dad joke on there. And it's changed. It's what I will say, it's funny. It's funny, but it's one space now, because of the way that I interacted with it, that I feel like do you remember that video game back in the day? I think it was called Kix, QIX. And what you would actually do is you're trying to go from the border and kind of draw out a space, and then it fills in with color. But there's things that would be moving along the lines like little enemies. So if you actually manage to box in an enemy, it would make it disappear. So you're basically trying to cover a field, 75% of it, and then it was considered a win. And you could try to go like just from side to side, which would give you a 50% clear, but you get less points than if you kind of nickel and dime it, because there's more risk in kind of doing the nickel and dime. You got me? So I feel like I've done is I've kind of colored in the office as a space now where I can kind of go play. I can be there. I can be humorous. My classroom is another space. Some of the travel spaces in between, I don't have that clear connection to. They're just a bridge to one place to another. But it started to change my thinking just a little bit, that this would be the thing that would make me want to stay here another year, because it's taken time for me to get to this feeling. It's taken time for me to get to this sense of landing. It's taken time. Like, it's an actual artifact of me building relationship. And I would have never thought that that would be something that I would like. Well, of course, if you don't know what you don't know, I was surprised that this has become valuable to me, because I'm always telling jokes, kind of being playful. But in this particular case, I'm feeling the good feels coming back from living that way. Right. So, yeah.
Oh, somebody holding flowers. Is that a hand wrapped around the bottom? It looks like
Yeah,
it. Okay,
yeah.
cool. What made you draw that?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Like, again, there's tools that are part of it, and kinda like the poems that I write, sometimes the actual thing that I'm doing is revealed in the process. I actually don't know what I'm doing. I'm letting the actual tools. It's kind of like saying, okay, I'm going to sit on the car and press the accelerator and see what
Mm,
happens.
gotcha.
Dangerous version to do that. But it's similar to that, right? I grab some watercolor, grab the piece of paper. I think there's something about spring in this. The other thing too that kind of occurred to me. So the thing that occurred to me about this is that the strongest flower, so the other flowers are kind of dying, but they're still kind of beautiful. But the one that doesn't have color yet seems to be the healthiest one. I don't know. Is that hope? Like it's weight. I don't know. I don't know. And I just got to figure out where to put the decoded information on it.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, buddy. Um, Hope you have a great day. Wishing you a great week off of work.
Off to Guelph today, yo.
Have
Gonna be
fun,
nice.
bro.
Mhm.
Um, and that today, this
Mhm.
was season 6, episode 24, number 242. Peace.
Peace, man. Have a great day.